to my channel. Today is Foundation Friday and I have been testing out the new Tom Ford Soleil Flawless Glow Foundation. So this is kind of that serum type foundation that they released in the springtime. I've been waiting to be able to test this out, but I haven't had a chance to because I'm in between two shades in Tom Ford. So 7.0 is just a little bit too light for me and 7.7 was a little bit too dark. So I knew that once I got a tan that 7.7 would be the perfect shade. I am so excited about this one because this one is kind of up my alley. I am 40 and so I don't like a lot of heavy foundations. This is definitely more of like a serum type of foundation where it has a lot of skincare benefits in it. I have been wearing this foundation since Monday, and so normally when I'm testing out a new foundation, I like to wear them 12 hours per day because there's a lot of women out there that need their foundations to last 12 hours or longer. So I like to give them a really good test. Before I move on to all the information about the foundation, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of history on who I am, what my skin type is, and what I look for in a foundation, because I do think it's important to know what we like. You know, those of us who are reviewing the foundation, I think it's important for you guys to know what we like in a foundation, what we look for, what we prefer. So I'm 40 years old and I do have hyperpigmentation. I do suffer from adult acne, which right now it's under control. Sometimes I'll have minor breakouts here and there, but it is something that I have to constantly deal with. I like a lightweight foundation. I do prefer a medium coverage just because I do have the hyperpigmentation, but I like more of a natural, almost dewy, glowy type of finish. I'm kind of moving away from the dewy because I want it to kind of set down. I don't want it to be moving around throughout the day, especially in the summer when you're in the heat and stuff. But I like a more natural makeup. This is definitely right up my alley because it's a very natural, kind of just sheer-like application and very buildable. I have found that it's very buildable, and it's kind of perfect for what I look for. I've been playing with the Traceless foundation and I'm absolutely in love with it. So I wasn't able to wear it much during the springtime because it was a little bit too dark, because I have this one in shade 7.7 as well. I'm a medium with a golden undertone. I absolutely love it. Like once I got my tan, I just can't put this down. So I'm curious what the difference between these two are. I've been wearing this for about a week before I started wearing this one. Throughout the time of me testing this, I will give you guys kind of my opinion about the differences between these two foundations. So let's get into all of the information. So this foundation retails for $88 and that is for 30 mils, which that makes it $2.93 per milliliter. So yes, it is a very expensive foundation. I mean, it's Tom Ford, so it kind of comes with the price tag. Anything that he puts out is just always very expensive, but there are some things that kind of stand out that makes some of this worth the price, only because it contains a lot of skincare ingredients, which I do appreciate, because as we age, we need to be mindful that sometimes we are wearing our foundations longer than we are our skincare at night. If you're putting on good skincare at night and then during the day you're putting on a foundation that maybe isn't so good for your skin, you're kind of defeating the purpose. And so I do think it's important, especially as we age, to pay attention to some of the ingredients. And in my opinion, because this does have skincare ingredients in it, somewhat makes it a little bit more worth it for me. But I will say it is a steep price, so it's probably not something that you'd want to wear like on a daily. This is described as a hydrating sheer protective foundation. It's a weightless foundation that delivers a skin-like coverage, and obviously it has the defense against UV rays and pollution. The gel serum foundation features a unique blend of fruit extracts that help skin cells retain more water, and resulting in plump, supple skin that glows without shine or greasiness. So this actually contains apple extract, watermelon, and lychee seed, which are all of those protectors that we just spoke about. It'll allow the skin to look more fresh and healthy with a satin skin-like finish while being protected from the aging effects of UV rays and pollution. It does have 24 different shades, which is incredible for a serum foundation. The only problem is that it doesn't have a lot of deep shades. So it seems like there's a lot of shades for like the light medium area, but it seems like when it gets into the deeper skin range, it just doesn't have enough shades in my opinion. that's definitely a bummer with this one because I'm a 7.7. And like I said, I am a medium with a golden undertone. 7.7 is probably the darkest shade I could wear, but the darkest shade that they have is 11. So I don't feel like they have enough shades in this collection. I feel like they are missing a lot when it comes to deeper skin tones. You could use some sort of like shade drops, you know, some sort of shade adjusting drops with this. I think that because it's so serum-like and the way that it feels on the skin, I think you could totally get away with it without disrupting the finish and all the skincare benefits from it. So if there's not an exact shade for you, that might be something to consider. I recommend going to like a, you know, maybe in Nordstrom's, find your Tom Ford counter, get shade matched, go through the shades and see which shade might be the closest to you. The good thing about this formula is it's alcohol free and it's oil free. So you're not gonna have, like, you can see that my skin has like a natural glow to it. But I also want to mention that I do already have a natural glow to my skin because of the skincare regimen I've been on for 7 years. So I have created kind of that natural healthy glow anyway. But if you're somebody that needs and wants that natural glow, this definitely has that in it. It gives like a glowy finish, but it's not a foundation that I feel like is tacky. So I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I heard that it was more of like a serum foundation, I was a little bit concerned by it because sometimes when you have a foundation like this, they're sticky and they don't stay on, and they don't perform, they don't last a long time. This one seems to be the exception. So I'm curious to try it. We're gonna go ahead and jump straight into the application portion of the video. I will come back, do a midday check-in, and then after wearing it for the 4 days and wearing it for 12 hours every single day, I'm gonna come back and give you guys my full final thoughts on how I feel about it and who I feel like would like this. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so let's get playing with this. I've already applied my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base because I like to apply that and kind of let it absorb for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. So as far as application wise, I think I'm just gonna put like a drop of this on the back of my hand and then just take my foundation brush and just kind of start building it up. We'll see how that goes and then maybe smoothing it out. But this is definitely like a serum type of a foundation. So it does have a little dropper on it. You know, which sometimes I'm not a fan of that, and it's pretty runny. The other dropper foundation that I have is the Becca Aqua Luminous Perfecting Foundation, and I love it, but I hate the packaging. I did give it a good shake before I put it here on the back of my hand, so that one is still a little bit dark. So this is actually a little bit darker than the Traceless. So when I apply the Traceless stick foundation, it kind of melts right into my skin. This one feels a little dark, but I think it will be fine. I think I'll be able to kind of blend it in. But I'm still using the same amount. I think I'll use that one drop and see how far it will take me. I mean, this just like melts into the skin. It just kind of evened out my complexion. Like, this is the first layer, and you can't really see it sitting on my skin, which I think is the thing that people like about this foundation, is that it is so skin-like, very natural. And to be honest with you, it feels like it's set down. It's a tiny bit tacky, but I do feel like you got to give it a little bit of time to dry, and then maybe it will set down. We'll see. So I'm going to give it another good shake before I go in with a second dropper, just because I want to make sure that it's nice and mixed up. So I've got one more drop here, and let's just see how far we can build this. The nice thing about foundations like this is that you can always spot conceal with any type of concealer that you have. If you're somebody that only needs coverage in certain areas, then these type of foundations aren't bad because they're exceptionally skin-like, and it makes it give the appearance of just beautiful skin without needing to apply a bunch of foundation. But as you can see, that, I mean, that covered, that second dip, it really covered my hyperpigmentation up here. I mean, you can't even hardly see it sitting up there. That looks beautiful. I mean, it is so natural, and I mean, yeah, probably through the camera, I mean, my skin is reflecting from the lights, so probably through the camera, my skin might be looking a little bit greasy or oily, but I kind of feel like that's just kind of the natural shine that this foundation gives. I've been wearing the Traceless foundation for several days in a row now. I would say roughly a week almost. I've been loving this, like absolutely loving this foundation. So I thought that would be a good time for me to test this, because then I can kind of, because I'm so familiar with the way that this is worn for the last week, you know, wearing this, I can really compare them. I think the only difference that I'm seeing right away is that the Traceless foundation just gives you more coverage. That's the only thing that I'm seeing so far. I was thinking about maybe going over this with a sponge, but this is such a serum type foundation that you really don't need to. So this is what it's looking like up close. As you can see, it's just nice and really blended. Again, I did not use any type of a beauty blender to kind of pounce it into the skin. It kind of just melts into the skin based on the foundation brush that I used. Okay, so I'm back for a midday check-in on this foundation, and it is currently 3:30 in the afternoon. So currently I've had it on for 6 hours. This is the time where it still looks really, really good. I'm not having any issues with it. Now, today I applied it with my fingers and my brush. So I'll get into all of that in my final thoughts, the way that I like to apply this the best. But today I just went ahead and applied it all over the face, kind of rubbed it in with my fingers, and then I built it up in areas where I needed more coverage and kind of buffed it in with the brush. But the nice thing about it is you're able to build up to a pretty decent medium coverage with this. But let's go ahead and do some close-up shots. Okay, so this is what it's looking like close up. Right now, like I said, I think it looks really, really good. This is about the time where I like it, but it's not my favorite from this point to 12 hours. Okay, so let's turn off the ring light. So I turned off the ring light, and I am sitting in front of a window. It's not direct sunlight, and I have two umbrella lights sitting in the kind of the corner just to give a little bit extra light. And then I just have the lights on that are above me. And this, you'll see, this is definitely more natural lighting, and this looks pretty good. I mean, it still looks pretty good around this time. It's, like I said, this is about the turning point for this foundation for me. And you know, there are some positives with it and there are some negatives, which I'm going to get into later on this evening when I give my full final thoughts, because this is the 4th day that I've worn it and I have a lot to say. So anyway, I think it looks really good though. Like 6 hours in, this foundation has just always been beautiful those first 6 hours. And, you know, that is when it's at its best. There's a little bit of separation starting, just a little bit, but nothing like too major. Now, I did apply my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Powder over top of this today. Okay, so that's it for my midday check-in. I will come back later on this evening and I am going to give you guys my full final thoughts. I've been wearing this 4 days. I've tried it with different primers. I did forget to mention today I wore it with the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Rich Face Base, and I wore the Toxic Silk Canvas here in this area because I wanted to see if the Toxic Silk Canvas would allow it to last longer, which I'll get into all that later on. But I was kind of having an issue with it not wanting to last longer than 8 hours. After the 8 hours, it was just like tanking. So I thought, I'm going to try the Toxic Silk Canvas and see if I can get it in this area to look more smooth and last more throughout the day. And I will say, this is the best that it has looked the entire time I've worn it, 6 hours later. So the Toxic Silk Canvas has definitely made a bit difference with its sticking and being more smooth through here, and it kind of attaches to it. It's got a better holding power with the Tatcha Silk Canvas than it does with just like my normal everyday primer. So I wanted to mention that. I forgot about that. But anyways, I will see you guys in my final thoughts. Okay everyone, it is officially midnight. So I applied this right around 9:30 this morning. So it is midnight and I am ready to film the rest of this video and get the editing done and go to bed. But I have a lot to say about the foundation, and I just picked a zit. It was really white. I couldn't come on camera with a white zit. I mean, seriously? Let me get into my final thoughts. This is not a foundation that I can wear for longer than about 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours it starts to kind of break down, kind of starts to lift a little bit from the skin. I'll do some close-ups here in a minute. My favorite way to apply this is with my fingers, kind of blending it out and then building it with a brush where I need, you know, that extra pigmentation. I was surprised that I was able to build this to a medium coverage. This is kind of like between a light and a medium coverage. It's kind of in between, and it is a decent coverage. I was really impressed with that. I love how natural skin-like it is. I will say the Tatcha Silk Canvas, this is the best it's looked. Last night it was really lifting right through here. I mean, it was just starting to kind of, like earlier in that footage you saw where it was kind of starting to get a little bit patchy through there. And that is definitely the case. But the Tatcha Silk Canvas really held it together in those areas. So if you need it to last a little bit longer than like a 6 to 8 hour mark, I definitely recommend, you know, adding some sort of primer underneath it that will kind of really smooth everything out and give it something to attach to. This is a very glowy foundation. So I don't know that I am like in love with this, and let me just say why. I feel like I get more from this stick foundation than I do this. I can apply this and it looks beautiful 12 hours later. Like, this is a really nice, long-lasting foundation. This is not so much. So in my opinion, if I had to pick one or the other, I'm gonna pick the stick one. Even though I love the glowiness from this foundation, this kind of gives me the same glow, maybe not as glowy. This one definitely has that serum-like type of feeling, and it's just, it goes on very glowy. And if you're having a really good skin day, this is kind of the one that you're going to want to pull. But I'll be honest with you, it's kind of how I feel about this one too. So I prefer this one. If you don't have either one of these and you've been thinking about maybe getting, you know, the stick or the Soleil, I recommend the stick. I just think the stick is just an all-around better foundation in my opinion. The next one that I want to try is the Chanel. Everybody's been talking about it. It's like that water tint one. It's the new one that Chanel released a few months ago, but it's something similar to this, and that's one that everybody raves about, and I'm really excited to try it. I've just ordered it today. So I will definitely be reviewing that very, very soon. I've got a lot of foundations that's coming up that I'll be reviewing. You know, the Dose of Colors, I ordered that one. I'm going to be ordering the Charlotte Tilbury, which probably won't be till, what, August or September. The Pat McGrath, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until the Pat McGrath foundation. So there's a lot of new foundations that are being launched, and I'm excited to kind of dive into them. But the Chanel one will be up sometime very soon. As you know, I have dry, normal skin. Right now I'm more normal. During the winter is when I'm more dry. This is a foundation that can get oily at the end of the night. So I went ahead and pulled you in, but see if I go like this, see that mark? That's oily. And I don't have oily skin. So you see that? I mean, you can clearly see that. This is one that can be very oily. If you're really dry, I think you'll really enjoy this. But I think if you're normal, I mean, look at those marks. And see, if I do this, you can see it. See how, well, maybe I shouldn't have done it on a wrinkle. But see how it will make those lines And so by the end of the night, like if you touch your face, you'll remove the foundation. It's one of those. It doesn't have like a long lasting power to it. I think that's the thing that I don't like about it the most. It really starts to break up through here, and it's just one of those foundations that you cannot touch your face at all because it will transfer. It doesn't transfer from the time, I would say maybe 20-30 minutes after I apply it to probably maybe the 6-hour mark. And then after the 6-hour mark, you don't really want to be touching your face because it will transfer. Now, don't get me wrong, it does wear off pretty naturally. I mean, I'm like 14.5 hours later. So I understand that foundations just are not going to be amazing 14 hours later. I get it. But I just need my foundations to last longer than 6 hours, and I feel like that is kind of the breaking point with this. Last night, it was really coming. It was really lifting through here. So the Tatcha Silk Canvas made a difference with that. It didn't lift as bad right here in this area as it does without it. So, you know, that's definitely something to be said, but I don't know. It's just not my favorite. It's a good foundation. It's decent, especially for being a serum foundation, but it's not my favorite. Okay, so this is what it looks like in more of a natural lighting. And again, it does really start to lift right through here, which is where my foundation will lift if it's going to. But last night it had lifted so bad through here. So the Tatcha Silk Canvas kept it in that area. The finish reminds me of the NYX Born to Glow. So this NYX Born to Glow kind of gives that same glow as this does, and this lasts a really long time. So if you're somebody that's wanting that natural glow to your skin, maybe you haven't achieved that through skincare and you're working on it and you want that glowing skin, this is a really nice one from NYX. Okay, so that's it for my final thoughts on this foundation. I hope that this review was helpful for you guys, maybe answered some questions that maybe you've had about the foundation. If you have any questions about anything that I didn't address in this video, let me know in the comments down below. I will definitely try to get to as many comments as I possibly can. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend filled with love and joy. I will see you guys in my next video, and I love you all so much. Bye!